Hey, pals, welcome back to another episode of the Pool Box Pals. My name is Monk, and with me, I don't know what it is. Every time I do the intro, he gets a good chuckle. That's the Mad Chuckler, Mad Mark
That's me.
Madison. How you doing, bud?
That's right, Madison. That's what people call me.
I almost was genuinely like, "What's your last name?" And then I remembered that I knew it, and I've known it for years.
You have. I'm
Yeah.
a three first namer.
Yeah, so that means the likelihood of you being an assassin is pretty high because aren't a bunch of the assassins I can't think of any because I'm scared I'm going to start to say serial killers, but something there's an overlap between those or something like that. Have you heard this before?
No.
Who's the guy who shot Lee Harvey Oswald? Those are all first names.
No, isn't Lee Harvey Oswald the guy who did the shooting?
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're going to be an assassin.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he shot JFK, I believe, or at least that's
That's what the media wants you to believe.
That's what they want you to
believe. That's so silly. So,
I do find it really funny how obsessed we are with the assassination of JFK.
Mm-hmm.
Just so many stories have been written about it, and it's been theorized upon. It is fascinating, but I don't really as far as I know, he died, and there's nothing I can do about that. And there's going to be stories as to how he died, and I'll hear them. I just don't really have one foot on either side of the fence there.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing that me personally is going to change anything in the world. By if I found that out, I wouldn't live my life any differently. If either way, anyway, I don't think I would trust the government more or less. I don't think I would trust politicians more or less. It just wouldn't anyway for me. It wouldn't affect that. But I do think that there's this. My fiance and I talk about how something that Americans really love to do is cosplay other eras of American history, and just kind of get lost in American history, and which is kind of, I don't know if, I can't say if Americans have always done that because I've only been an American for 33 years, but we seem to be there's World War II, there's colonial stuff, just all a Ren Fair. That's not really, I mean, it's our history insofar as we came from, the UK and the English Isles, but it seems to be the tell of the apex of a society where you're just let's focus on the past because there is some fixation on the future. And I think the future planning unfortunately belongs to a very select few people who've co-opted that for themselves. Whether that be politicians or billionaires or just very large influencers. This is a comic book podcast, by the way. But you just, I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought on that one.
That's all right. It happens, but
it's just an interesting thing that we do, that we love to look back in the past and just one of my first girlfriend's dads just loved World War II, which is common for everybody's girlfriend's dad,
Yeah.
And I just think that America doesn't know what it is. And so we just kind of look back on just being well, these things happened and this kind of defines us. But anyways, before we get too lost off in the weeds,
we're a young country and we don't have that much history, so we celebrate a lot of it.
Yeah. And rightfully so. It's good to, I wish we had more actual pride in our country. And I think a lot of people talk about American pride, but I think everyone who talks about it thinks about America as it could be, not America as it is necessarily. Because across the spectrum, because you're I want America to just, and again, I think it's very telling of our generation of just we're just very demanding and we want things everybody just the boomers, the young people, everybody just is a consumer. And so I don't know, I can see even American history just becoming something that we can.
I think what you're saying is that America and its history are very complicated.
in so few words, of course.
Yeah.
But anyways, before we go farther, again, trying to pull us out of this rabbit hole.
Well,
But,
I mean, there's comics that are written about the initial topic of JFK's assassination, and those are great.
Yeah. Speaking of JFK's assassin, here's Anthony Blackwell saying,
ABJ
hey,
in the house.
How you doing, buddy? Make sure that you check out the ABJ podcast. He's doing a whole lot of awesome stuff with a bunch of local and just all around wrestlers, just wrestlers.
Yeah.
Wherever you want to get wrestlers, he's your guy.
I love his wrestling content.
Yeah, and he also said "boom, baby," and I thought he said "baby boom" at first. I'm like, that's interesting. We're probably in a baby bust, if anything. But again, now we're going into another heady one. Let's bring it down. But again, like I posted a clip from something that you had mentioned last week about something that's so great about the comic community and kind of the extension of just comics itself is that it allows it to be a medium to tell these tales that we, because I'm thinking about Watchmen. Watchmen has a JFK's in that. It changes in the movie. In the movie, he kills him, but in the comic, he hears about it and he's sad. I don't know why they changed it, other than to have like a cool something happening while Bob Dylan's something's gonna change. What's that song called? And the times they are changing. Oh my god.
Times they are changing.
I have Bob Dylan tattooed on the back of my leg. That's a shame. I should rip off my calf.
You probably should, actually. America would appreciate it.
We would get a lot of we'd get a lot of views. Not just wrestling. I have others guests lined up. Coming. Yeah. Also, I'd love to support all independent art and people. Maybe the pullboxpals will be on soon. Wink.
Hey-o.
Hey, we're kind of doing it now, sort of. But
I think he means on his show.
Yeah. I can change it, the background real quick, to say Anthony could sneak on here. He knows how. But anyways, man, were you able to make it to your shop this week?
I did. I had a decent haul.
Same.
5 comics.
Oh, I got 7. Yeah. My haul was more decent. I'm excited to see the overlap.
I don't know. I'm curious if we have any, but first one up here, my one of my shop people is just like, how's this going? Because they're the ones who recommended the initial series to me, and she hasn't kept up on it as far as because obviously she asked how's it going. Right. But it's part of the Gun Honey series. This is something that Ed Brubaker, it says here on the front cover of every issue, the finest kind of pulp noir.
Ooh.
And this one's called Heat Seeker. This is issue 3. It wraps up with the next issue, and then the main Gun Honey series is supposed to pick back up.
Hot dang. Yeah. I don't even, this seems new to me, whatever this is. Have you talked about this comic before?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just not paying attention.
This is something I think we may have crossover on. If not, I might be a little sad. But we'll find out. Hunt for the Skinwalker.
Yes, sir.
Heyo.
It's been a hot minute since like
I love that
boom
cover
title. I know. It's so good. It's so trippy, and there's like an alien right here. That's fun. His eyes.
The other thing that's like funny about it, I think it was like 2 episodes ago for the comic book lair, where they were just like, they said boom 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 again, which is one of their things, and they were just like, man, we haven't done that in a while, because I mean, I know Boom's always putting out stuff, but like, I think just collectively I haven't picked a lot of it up.
It's been like a hot minute since they put out like a title that was really like intriguing. Granted, 4 seasons was really good, but I feel like that was just kind of like a nice filler. But I really I'm not trying to diminish that, because I really did enjoy it, but I feel like it didn't kind of give us the depth, or it didn't have the breadth even, which is not necessarily something that I'm always looking for, Well,
and I still have all the is all the seasons have teeth?
Yeah, actually, that's what I mean. Not 4 seasons. My bad. That's a Bright Eyes song. And that's 4. My God, I'm doing terrible with the references to musicians that I adore. That would be on my Mount Rushmore of musicians, and I'm just sitting here being a bumbling idiot.
It's all right, man. You can redeem yourself down the road. It's fine.
I'm certainly going to be trying to.
But yeah, I still have the second, third, and fourth issues of All the Seasons Have Teeth still in the bag from when I bought them when I was in Texas. Like I still haven't like pulled them out because I also thought this weekend, so I was like, I think I can catch up on all of my like, to read stack.
How'd that go?
I didn't. I still, I mean, I took a big bite out of it. I'll say that. Like
crime.
if I'll just say if there was 9, I probably like consumed 4, like out of 9.
Okay, that's bad. Or I mean, that's not bad. That's bad.
Yeah.
I was gonna see. I said bad because I felt like I've been doing bad. I barely got through like the ones that I read last week or picked last week. Again like everything that I read this week I enjoyed, but yeah.
I don't think it's uncommon, and I think it happens when like seasons change because like I'm in a new routine starting this week. Kids are back in school. And so it's just, I don't know. I'm in a newer routine, but there's another guy that I watch on YouTube, and he had a family event this weekend, so he didn't read all of his polls from last week. So he was just like, I didn't even get to read anything before this week's releases. So I think it comes. Like,
yes, I mean, summer's wrapping up. People are trying to get in last minute stuff.
Yeah.
And but keep on going through that pool list.
So this next one, I liked issue 1, but it wasn't all I thought it could be, like, or hoped it to be. But I got issue 2 here of Sacrificers.
Okay. I was very intrigued by that cover. I saw it at my shop. There was a lot of good looking stuff out this week. So it was kind of hard to like, I honestly could have gotten more, like if I was feeling really like selfish, but then I was thinking about this pile of unsorted comics that I have over here that if I took a picture of, Mark, you would cry. Because of how unorganized. Yeah, I know how well you keep your stuff and how not well I keep my stuff. So I'm never going to show you that. That's staying off camera forever.
That's saying a lot right now. If you could see the floor of my office at the moment, it's in some disarray.
Yeah, same here, buddy. That's why just keeping it above board.
Yeah. Another thing, this is something I picked up as a collector. I like to pick up Marvel #1s. So I picked up Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy.
Now, I was tempted to jump on this because I've just been hearing so much good stuff about the Fantastic Four lately, and I do love the Fantastic Four. The Silver Surfer is like, he's kind of like a Mario character to me. You know what I mean? Like he's just the protagonist. Like he's literally so bland, but I can see like he's so cool. Like, but he's so cool of a certain era of like late 80s cool, which is I'm assuming when he came. But
but I mean, he was, Stan Lee's favorite Marvel character.
Well, there you go. So. And you and I both came from the late 80s, and we're pretty okay.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
Yeah, we're not flying through the cosmos on a surfboard that I think is also part of my body. Does he morph with it?
Wait, what?
Is the surfboard a part of his body?
All I can think of, as far as I know, is when the sequel to the original movie run came out, and then the preview, he like, went through his board to be on the other side of the board. And
so what's that?
But as far as that, I'm
that's not a word.
I don't know. I don't know. It just made me think of what is it? T-1000 from the Terminator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and everybody's been trying to mimic that since that happened.
Yeah, so I don't know. I
would like to say I've never seen a Fantastic Four movie. Does that make me anything?
No, I mean you're not missing anything.
No, I haven't heard that I am. I would like to see it, but I think I don't know.
I have seen, I guess, in total time 2 movies worth of time of those movies. I saw the first one that came out with Jessica Alba was in it, and I think that's when Chris Evans played Johnny Storm. And I watched that, and then I didn't go see the sequel in theaters. I waited for it to come out, and I fell asleep to it. Like so and then this new one that came out with, was it Miles Teller who played Reed Richards? I didn't make it through that either. I fell asleep.
Oh my goodness.
So
yeah, I mean, I
guess I can't speak as highly as saying you're not missing much, but from
I
what
mean,
I've
if it
seen.
puts you to sleep, that's kind of
Yeah.
saying something. I mean, again, nothing against the Fantastic Four. I'm totally
the
for
comics
them.
the comics are great, and it has a really massive legacy, just in the history of comics, and so it has its place. But it's like you can't make everything you read into a great movie. And you
also,
know, and like with the MCU coming up with their Fantastic Four movie, it's just like there's a lot riding on that for people.
Oh yeah, there is.
There's
Because
a lot.
could you imagine if they bombed it? I mean, people have been sour on Marvel of late. I mean, that movie's not coming anytime soon. You know, we're a good 3 years away from that. But yeah. So it just is what it is. So did you have any else?
I got one more, and I'm assuming you have it as well.
Let me
Swan
guess.
Songs.
Oh no, that wasn't the one I was thinking. But yes, I did get it.
Well,
I
now
really
I'm
like.
curious. I'm curious what you were thinking, but bring up your same cover. Okay.
Yeah, I like this cover a lot.
Yeah.
You ready to be sad? I guess is all I have to say about this. Oh, the art
The
is
colors
beautiful.
are woo.
Did we just have the same reaction? I want to watch back in the playback and just watch us both open them at the same time.
It's like
not even showing
like a really talented first grader drew it.
That could be like the worst insult in the world.
I don't mean that as an insult. It's just like,
but you're 100% right.
The panels look like they're boxed in with crayon. Like, this is great.
I'm very excited for this because I remembered the premise because it was very intriguing that these guys are the Adam and Eve after a nuclear apocalypse. If they don't say that it's the same one from issue number 1, I'm going to assume it's the same one from issue number 1, just farther down. But maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I shouldn't even do. Maybe I shouldn't even do that. Just let this story be its own story. But at the end of the day, I'm super stoked for it.
It's definitely going to be its own story. Man, I thought I had it brought up here. I do. Yeah. So this one's the end of the world.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I'm very excited about it. So let me show you the one that I thought that you would also have. 7 Years in Darkness, number 3.
Yeah, I never got the first ones because I think it's something I asked for, and then that's a publisher my shop doesn't bring in a whole lot.
Right. I think I might have knew this. Again, it's just
so I'm waiting till that whole series is available on Omnibus, and then that's when I'll probably hop on it.
That's a good call. All right, so my next one is from a publisher that we've been really enjoying lately. Mad Dog Publishers. It's Crusader.
It's Mad Cave.
Mad Cave. I was thinking of a dog I was mad at earlier.
Crusaders?
Crusaders. Crusader. One single Crusader.
Crusader. Oh.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's like a little frog man on the inside. Again, this is like a comic that I don't really know much about, but the art looks super dope. And like kind of similar to Westerns and like some sci-fi stuff it's gonna be hard for me not to pick up something with the Crusader, especially like if the art looks as interesting as it did in that one,
Yeah, I'm checking it out right now.
Nice. In the meantime, while you're checking that out, I'm gonna get into we'll end with the Scout ones last. But I've been super stoked on this series. I've literally talked about it the past 2 weeks in a row. But Feeder.
Yeah, you have mentioned that.
And it's
a couple times.
So I'm very excited to see how this goes. I just, as I was paging through it, I just saw like the main character shooting somebody with a shotgun. So that's great. So the status quo shall remain. But the last time we left our hero, he was dope sick and needing a fix. And we're gonna see how he's gonna try to get clean. He's gonna try to kill all the people that are coming after this 16-year-old girl who stole like 50 some bucks from like a mob guy. So and then I could just have 2 more here, and my last 2 are both from Scout. The first one is Vanity, and I believe that it's not a one shot. For some reason I thought it was a one shot at first. I have no idea what it's about, but I've said this before. I usually try to pick up the first issues of Scouts, like you pick up Marvel. But But yeah. Whoa. What's that? Everything all right?
My screen just went black. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess I'm still here, so that's good.
Well, that's good. My last one, also from Scout. This is probably the one that I think I was looking forward to the most this week. Is Banshees number 4. Been super loving these this series. The authors follow us, so that's really nice on Instagram. So shout out to them. They're doing great work with this. So if you haven't been reading Banshees, you just gotta, because it's very good. And you haven't read it, correct?
Nope. It's another one I'm saving up for the Omnibus app.
Good call. I mean, a good call insofar as it's good to read it. I'm bummed that we're not riding this train together, but hey, you can't ride every train.
I can't.
High on cocaine.
It's too difficult.
It is
to be on more than one train at a time.
I mean, technically you can do it, but I would imagine that unless they're going together in the same direction, they're going at each other, and then you're on 2 trains at one time, but then you're everywhere.
Well, yeah, I guess the most you can be on at one time is 2, but I mean, yeah, whether it's back to back, it's like you're standing on the front and the back of the other.
Right.
And then if they're parallel, like there's eventually going to be that split in the road there. Yep. You're gonna have to choose.
Yep.
Which train are you riding out of town?
I don't know. I can't think of any good metaphors at the moment. But you know what train that I would love to ride wherever it's going?
What's that? Heck yes. Oh, I'm so excited to talk about this.
All right. Well, why don't you set it up? What is this about? This is I just want to say this is kind of like an annual, and I really love an annual.
Yeah.
So good on Image for that. I just want to start with that.
So I believe it's technically a special issue.
Ooh, it should be an annual.
Which are similar to annuals in the sense that they're kind of a one-shot story within a grander story.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I talked about it last week when he showed it off, but it's just like it just pays a lot of tribute to like the early days of Image. And like I mean, that's all I really knew as a kid was like, yes, Marvel and DC, but then I knew Image because like me and the neighbor kids all loved Spawn. And so it just like when Image was coming out with, all of their, there we go. With just all of their new titles, Pit and the Max and Gen 13, like just so many different ones. And so this one, Local Man, this cover for it is based on Deathmate, which was a crossover between Image and Valiant. And I shared the photos of them on Instagram. So if you want to see what they look like, you can go check them out there. But it just really did a good job of paying tribute to that, not just through the cover, but in the story as well. There was characters who were from the early Image days. And
right.
I think that was super cool. They weren't characters that I would say I'm super familiar with because they were kind of just like the fringe characters of Image.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, same. But I really appreciated them showing up and him just clearly fitting in this world so well,
Yeah. But yeah, so the premise of this story though is that essentially Local Man, who was formerly known as Crossfire, I don't think, or Crossjack, yeah. So
I redeemed myself. Yay!
You did it. So Crossjack from like 20, 30 years ago ends up in Local Man's like time, and they're the same person. They're Jack Xavier. Is that their name?
Yeah.
And their dialogue throughout the issue is just hilarious because like Local Man version is just like, I don't want to get too close and like cause a paradox or anything like that. So like, let's just stay away from each other. But then he's observing his younger self and how he used to act and treat other people. And he's just like, kind of starts becoming bigger brother and just being like, you can't do that. Like,
Yeah. You have to stop that. You can't treat people like that. You can't say that kind of stuff.
But yeah, something happens though in the series where he points something out, like Local Man points something out to Crossjack, and by the end of it, he was just like, "Oh, the son of a bitch did it,"
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed how they handled that, especially when he first shows up. He's like, oh, I kind of remember this. He's like the thing with like he's like the thing with multi-dimensional travel. He's like, it screws with your memories. And I'm like, yeah, I would imagine that it probably would. You know, if you're like jumping around, you're seeing a version of yourself, you're communicating, like, again, just traveling through space and time, you know. And where are memories stored and how do they come with you? Anywho, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just a very fun superhero romp of just like, at no point did I feel like any threat of danger. And again, I think that's kind of how I feel about like annuals and, let's say, special edition issues or whatever for now. But I was just making a little joke there. But
I laughed a little bit.
Oh, I saw you smirking, sweetie. Thank you. But yeah, I think it's more about the character and like how, like, what's going on. When I think about annuals, I think about like, I always just think about Daredevil just running across rooftops, just like processing, you know? And I think that that's one of my favorite things about annuals, is that you get a lot of time to just focus on the character as what the character is going through. Because I think sometimes in superhero things, you have to have them in the world and like mixed in or whatever, you know? You can't just have them be on their own. But not that,
well, that is a thing too that I think, you know, annuals and specials are used for, is to like remind you of some things that have happened, but also projects what's coming a little bit, but still have its own story like around it. And you know, I love the flip book aspect of it. I love that they kept that for this special.
Same.
Because the other side, it's like seeing the end credit scene of a Marvel movie, essentially. Like it's only like 12 to 16 panels, maybe.
Yeah.
That like the short story from like the past. And you know, we learn that Crossjack Jr., whatever, younger Crossjack, he had his own adventure as to like how he got to where he was at. And it was just like really like cool to see that, and made me really excited for this next arc that's coming out. I think next month it starts.
Oh, really? They're just gonna keep rolling with it, baby? Oh, we're back to Limp Bizkit again. Shout out to last week's episode.
Let me just double check and make sure I'm not you know, speaking too far into the future. How do I?
You'll figure this out. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed just seeing him work with like his team again, because kind of going the opposite of what I was just saying about annuals and what I enjoy about them. I think it was really cool to see again like his younger self and how he worked with his team and how his older self would kind of deal with that. And again, like there's a lifetime between those two people. And so it would be very interesting, and maybe that's what we're going to be seeing through like the flip book aspect of it. The B-sides is going to be seeing how he becomes this other version of himself, which you know, we pretty much have been seeing.
Yeah. No, it's super cool, and I am right. So Local Man issue 6 comes out October 18th.
Okay.
If you know, it's just my recommendation to anybody watching or listening that if you have not picked up Local Man, you definitely should. The trade paperback probably is coming out for volume 1 soon as well.
Nice.
Oh, it comes out this month. That's really good. That means so issue 5 came out in June, and then Gold came out in August. So they took July off essentially, and then yeah. So we're getting Local Man just coming right into your face.
Yeah, I'm gonna look on since I was on Amazon for that last. I'm gonna see if I can find what that trade paperback's at, because it would be great if it was $10 like they normally say.
It's not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
It's the good old nice $16.99.
Whoa, no good. And here's a really big bummer. My comic shop is going to be having another one of a big sale. I don't know if they're doing the short box sale again, but they're gonna have like another one coming up at the end of the month, and it's on a day that I already have a show booked in Philly, and so I have to leave early to get to Philly because the show starts early. And yeah, I'm gonna miss that sale, and I'm real bummed about that. Unless I go at like 9 in the morning, but then I won't have time to do the short box thing. If you know, but I really want to get my hands on a The Many Deaths of Lila Starr trade paperback, and I haven't picked it up yet, just because I've been waiting for it to go on sale, because that I think is also $16.99. But
so that the trade paperback hasn't come out for that.
It has. I just haven't. I haven't.
Oh,
I don't.
okay.
I'm waiting for it to go on sale at my shop.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's exactly what you said.
Well, thanks. Now I said it twice. I'll say it one more time. I'm waiting for it to go on sale.
I know. I might have to wait for that to go on sale too. I mean, Barnes and Noble, like I think earlier this year, did like buy one get one for Image Comics.
Mm-hmm. That's Boom.
What?
The Many Deaths of Lila Starr is Boom.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering if they might this year also have
the same sale.
The same sale, but with like all comics or
something like that.
Or Boom.
Just Boom.
Go. Yeah.
Just Boom. Well, hey, I think you have more comics that you want to chat about than I do. So how about you let her rip first?
Oh, yeah. Let me get into it.
You're doing great.
Yeah, I think I said this backstage, but I did not get as much reading in as I thought I would. I thought I would be able to accomplish my backup stack this week, and that didn't happen. But I did get a pretty good chunk into it, and so I had Penguin 0 sitting on the shelf, and then Penguin #1 I got I think last week. And I don't know, the Penguin's just always been like a cool character to me. I know he's always been one of like the main Batman villains, just going back as far back as people can remember.
I've always wanted to be a Penguin man.
But yeah, he's always just been like an intriguing character to pay attention to. And so now he has his own series. I doubt it's his first solo series. But yeah, on this one, so like you had mentioned, before we went live, like, oh, that doesn't look like the Penguin at all on the first issue, which is right here. So kind of the setup to this, and this isn't something I'm like I've kept up on or like really read about, but like essentially the Penguin faked his own death, and then he turns out he has like 9 children.
I think I knew that he had a bunch of kids. Either you told me that recently. I think I had heard that before.
Yeah, I may have mentioned it a while back, but like at the end of one of the Batmans that because I think I got through the first 2 arcs of Zdarsky's Batman. I think at the end of one of the latter issues, they had a preview for issue 0.
Okay.
And I found it really intriguing. So, and I wasn't expecting to get issue 0. It just showed up in my box one day because I had requested Penguin issue 1. But yeah, essentially he's faked his death, and he's had surgery to change his face, and he now lives in Metropolis.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And now he's pretty much being recruited by it's seemingly the Suicide Squad. Like Waller's makes an appearance in this, but like Penguin is like directly under one of Waller's like right hand people.
Okay, I know he's been on the squad in the past.
Yeah, but so far, like issue 0 was just an extension of the preview that I had read. It mostly had to do with like Catwoman, kind of like figuring out that Penguin was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one kind of picks up with he's alive, and they've been monitoring him for a while in Metropolis. So like, the secret agent people know he's alive, and they're just like watching him to see if he like makes any moves, but he's just trying to like live a life. But then they need him to come back to Gotham and take back over his ice lounge, because like 2 of his children ended up killing the rest of the children. I think, I don't know if they killed them all, but they basically made their claim on like, we're the ones that get Dad's empire. And there's just all these gang wars are breaking out over who gets to inherit it. And I think they're bringing Penguin back to Gotham to bring order to the crime world.
Okay.
So
I like that.
Yeah. So enjoyed it. I'm not super huge on DC stuff. That's just something that becomes more and more apparent to me. Like a lot of the good stuff has already happened in DC. And it's just, I don't know. They're not quite beating dead horses, but
sure. I mean, maybe this is somebody's, maybe this is somebody's new 52, or whatever it is. If just they're going in, and this is like, it's kind of like how people explain why like the younger generation can enjoy the prequels of the Star Wars movies, because it's like, well, we grew up with them. Like we weren't so like, it was just fun, like it didn't have to be this whole thing,
Yeah.
And I think, so I agree with you that I think there's a certain tone about DC that I don't really vibe with. Marvel is like the antithesis of it. Marvel, I think everything is like very happy, and then I think DC kind of does lean into that more. Like I think the movie universes have either intentionally or maybe they were always this way, of just affected how the comics at least present themselves. And so I mean, we talk all the time about this, so there's nothing that I have to say more about like those things, but they have great characters, so that's why
they have great legendary characters who have built a legacy just in the comic book world. Like, no, I don't hate the characters of DC. It's more just like the recent stuff I just haven't really been able to grab hold of. Like, and I do enjoy, like, I'm reading through the new Green Lantern run with Andy. Like that's like him and I talked about it when he was on
with you
with me, and I did enjoy it, but like, was it like my favorite thing that I had read those weeks? Like, no, it wasn't, but I did enjoy it because it was a great Green Lantern story, and I like where they're going with it. But it's just, how much more new can you do with like the same characters?
Yeah, and I think that that's part of the reason that you and I love like the shorter stuff, is because we get to meet so many new characters, and then the ones that are good and are worth exploring, they usually do. I really can't think of any comics that I wish had sequels. Maybe like, actually, I do know one. Not Know Your Station. What's that other one that I really loved that was similar to Know Your Station? Dark Beach.
Oh yeah.
Dark Beach. I'm pretty sure is getting it. At least they set it up for a sequel, but I guess we'll see. Anywho, so I picked up a comic this week, or last week rather, called Pink Elephant, and I had no idea what I was getting into. And
is that the one that was like slightly smaller in size?
Yeah. So again, we'll show it like compared to just this other comic. You can see, I mean, you can almost see the title of it. So it's the same width, but the height is smaller. And I really enjoy it. I didn't really notice any difference. This does feel bigger, like when I'm holding this, and this kind of feels nice, being this size. But yeah, I did not know what I was getting into with this comic. But I mean, similar to Heavy Metal Drummer, which I believe has the same artist, Benson Chin. It's just like wild, and so I'm always down to like, let's try something wild. And so that's what I was kind of assuming that I was going to be getting it with this. And I'm not right yet, but I would imagine that I'm going to be very right, because this seems like it's going to be setting up something that's very wild, and I will tell you why. So this comic is about these four, I just assume that they're teens, going on a vacation road trip. It starts out on a road trip out to this cabin, and they're kind of lost, and that's where it picks up on them just kind of being lost. And they find this gas station, and there's this creepy lady who actually, I guess we see earlier in the comic, riding to that gas station, and she's singing this song about the Elephant Man or the Pink Elephant or something like that. I guess I can open it up. I can sing you the song. Listen up, children. Here's a little advice for you, especially for those who don't know how to behave, for those naughty little children who don't know what's good for them. If you don't want to play, you better start running now. The pink killer will find you. There is no place to hide. The pink butcher will hunt you down and chop your head off.
That was great.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you for that.
Thank you, everybody. Please, enough applause. Yeah, so she's riding to work singing that, just that happy little tune. And then it cuts to these kids. These kids are on this road trip. They're lost. They find this gas station that the lady's working at, and they go in, and she's just kind of staring, just deadpan, just straight ahead, and like nothing happened in there. And so everyone's kind of just walking around. And this one of the kid who was driving, he came across this like box of tin mints, like you know how mints used to come in a tin. I guess some still do.
Like Altoids.
Yep. And it was shaped like a pink elephant, and he thought it was cool, so he pocketed it. And when he pocketed it, the lady in the front said, she was, I guess I can pull it up again and see what, and she said, essentially, it's like, you're all going to die. She just starts freaking out. You're all going to die. Now you own the key to the portal of madness. You are doomed, is what she says. So everyone kind of gets shaken up by it. They go back to the cabin, or they get to the cabin rather. And they're all just hanging out, like talking about what they want to do tomorrow. And so the guy decides to like open these mints and try them. And when he opens it, he realizes that it's acid. And so they're like, well, screw whatever plans we had initially. We're going to drop acid now. And so they all just, and like, ironically enough, I think there's 4 pieces. It's like, you should know that something bad's going to happen if there's 4 pieces of acid waiting for you. But as they take
that's funny. That like, that's how like the Beatles were introduced to acid.
Oh, and a mint?
No, just in like they didn't know.
Oh, okay. And somebody just plopped it on their tongue.
I think the story is they were at somebody's house and they were all offered a cup of coffee, and the coffee had acid in it. And they tell the story of like, I think they all started tripping at the same time, and they were like in the house's elevator, like going to leave or something like that.
Oh, geez. Well, good job, the Beatles. So as they take the acid, it cuts to like, so yeah, you see them, they drop the acid, and then it just cuts to like, I guess it's supposed to be like maybe the inside of his mouth or something like that. But like there's this portal that opens, and like it's from the perspective of like the pink elephant, and he's just kind of like coming out as like goop. And then on the next page, he formulates into the pink butcher. So I would imagine that this is there's only 2 issues there's 3 issues of this. There's 2 more left, and I imagine that the next 2 are gonna be like gung ho, just like, we're tripping, and there's a pink elephant man here, and he's killing us. And the art inside is so reminiscent of like 80s slashers, like kind of like the nasty. This is very much giving me like vibes of like video nasties. But yeah, the art is just
I'm looking at all of the covers for issues 1, 2, and 3, and
yeah,
I kind of want those.
Well, you got to get it then. I just want to shout out the creators because they gave us a follow on Instagram. Amelia and Emiliano Pliskin. I'm going to say that again. Amelia and Emiliano Pliskin. And the art, again, is by Benson Chin. And God, it's just fantastic. I guess I should say that it is indeed my
banger of the week.
Ooh.
Yeah, I initially, it wasn't like, when I put it down, I was like, it's almost a banger, but then I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I'm just like, you know what? If it stays with me, if it seems so innovative,
yeah,
then it deserves that title. So it's a crown honor around here.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I'm glad you found that. I really do think I want to. I mean, and the other thing too is I'm always looking for something from Sumerian coming out, and a lot of times I feel like I miss the boat, and it's something that you pick up. I'm like, oh, I need to get that, or I need to read that.
I was talking to my comic shop guy about it because I trust Sumerian, that they've like, I can't think of anything bad that I've read by them, but they also don't put out that much. What they put out is very sparse. But again, now that I'm thinking about it, Dark Beach is Behemoth, which so like
which is now Sumerian,
right, which was one of my favorite comics. So yeah, they do put out good stuff as sparse as it is. That Rock and Roll Hell stuck with me. It's still up on my wall. Yeah. So, anyways, bud, I could keep chatting, but I feel like you got a decent amount more comics to chat. Well, I guess that's not true. Two more.
I got a few. Just depends. You put TMNT up in the title, so let me.
Yeah, I got one TMNT as well.
So mine's actually a crossover. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Stranger Things issue 2.
Okay, right, yeah.
And it's such a fun story. I can't say enough how much I like watching the Turtles be in some other universe. But acting as those, it's not. And so like in this issue, the Stranger Things stuff is going on at the same time the Turtles are around. I mean, the Turtles have been around for a while already, but they make all these pop culture references in it, which is really funny because like they never they don't mention like the pop culture influence of the Turtles because it doesn't exist in that world.
It would implode. It would be a paradox like in Local Man.
Like in the 90s, you know, in this universe, you didn't go to the Toys R Us and go to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles aisle.
No.
I think I just took it a little too far.
Well, it happens. I'm known to do that.
But yeah, it's really fun how they're making this work because Dr. Stockman is in cahoots with Dad, scientist from Stranger Things. You haven't seen Stranger Things, right?
Nope. So words are flying past me.
Yeah. So there's basically this scientist who 11, who is the girl in Stranger Things who has telekinetic powers as well. I think some telepathy as well.
Mm-hmm. She also probably has a telephone.
Yeah. But man, Stranger Things is something you should watch. It's really good.
I believe you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a really good crossover between them. They teamed them up by putting two doctors out of their main stories together as if they were old colleagues. And so Stockman knows all about 11, who's the girl and her friends, and he has a plan to use her to get his will. So
sure, to take over the world.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I don't have the creative team right in front of me.
No, but that's okay. I mean, you can pull it up while I talk about my turtles. I read the Sunday Morning Adventures Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the one shot Endless Summer, and it was just fun. Like I go to these comics. The other one that I read, I'm just gonna kind of sneak my spotlight shout out in here real quick and just say that like I read the Sonic the Hedgehog Endless Summer and the
nice
Mutant Ninja Turtles. I go to these guys for fun.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of why I stayed away from the last Ronin, because I'm just like, I don't know these characters well enough to like be invested in this like you should be. But I feel like I can just get away with being like, these guys are just having fun. In the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, they're, it's very much just simple. Like, I want to be out having fun. It's actually Michelangelo who decides like he wants to go out. He's like, I'm tired of just all of us all the time, just, fighting bad guys. And so they decide to go to a water park, and wouldn't you know it, Krang's there. And so it just turns into them stopping.
Why wouldn't he be?
Yeah, why wouldn't he be? But they have fun in the midst of it, and like Michelangelo gets his his spirits back for punching a robot with a brain in its belly, which we all want to do deep down inside, I believe. Because I think if we saw that in real life, we'd be very unsettled.
Yeah,
and we would want violence. But maybe violence isn't always the answer. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, come on now. But I do think that I enjoyed the Sonic the Hedgehog one more, just because I think I enjoy that world more for some reason. I grew up more of a Sonic kid than a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle kids. Not like they're just just not different. Like they're not mutually exclusive. But I had a Sega
Genesis.
Yes. In Europe and in Australia, they're called Mega Drives, and I think that's a better name. And I always forget that it's called the Sega Genesis. But yeah, so I don't know. I really enjoyed that world. I think I love the art style of it. I see a lot of New York and like gritty, grimy New York and like other stuff, but I'm like, I just kind of want like a fun Sonic world where you just have like loop-de-loops in the background for no reason, But again, it's similar thing. Sonic shows up to Tail. Tail's working on a plane. Sonic wants to go to the beach, but Tails won't go with him because he's working on the plane. So then he goes to some place to do something for Tails, and he runs into like Amy, I think her name is, one of his little friends. And then they decide to go to the beach. And I don't know if he ever got that thing for Tail that he was supposed to get. I hope he did. We'll never know.
I won't know.
I probably won't. I think I'm going to say that he did. My heart of hearts, Sonic's a man of his word, and he went back and got him that like wrench or whatever it was.
I mean, it wouldn't take him very long. He's super fast.
He is super fast. Everybody in that world is super fast, though. Yeah. So like, but isn't that the theory of relativity?
Why can't Tails just get it himself?
Well, because he's working. And Sonic is being a pest because he said, "Let's go get chili dogs and run on the beach" or something like that. Which is a very Sonic thing to do. But I'm out of comics, my dear pal. Do you got any more than when you chit chat?
Yeah. Well, first I just wanted to give out the creators for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Stranger Things. I don't know this writer. I've never read anything of his, but it's Cameron Chittock. I think I'm saying his last name right. Artist is Pharaoh Paniche. Colorist Sophie Dodgson, and the only name that I do know is the letters, and it's Russ Wooten.
Oh, I was gonna say, what's the guy who does letters all the time? Jim,
or
is it, I forget.
There is a Jim, but I like the one that I think we've talked about the most is Otsmane.
No, that's not who I was thinking about. But God, I haven't seen anything from him in a hot minute, or from them. That I'm just so sad. I just got remembered of how gosh darn good that art is, and I just because he does art as well, not just lettering. Or am I thinking of? Okay. Anyways, I got distracted on that. What else you got for us, buddy?
What else do I got? This I didn't even know was coming out. But this is Berserker Poetry of Madness. I really like the Berserker series, and my shop had pulled a copy for me,
nice.
And then asked if I wanted it, and I told them yes. I didn't really know what I was getting into, but it's a prequel to the main story. It takes place during the legend of the city of Atlantis.
Okay.
And he's kind of like, he is the protector of Atlantis. He helped raise the king because he's the guy who, like, the king has a Batman story where like his parents were murdered in front of him, but like
in Gotham,
and Keanu Reeves' character shows up and saves the day essentially. And so so this takes place back then, but it's also like you get to know the character a little bit more, and that's what I like about this, because like Berserker was just a really fun series. There's talks of it continuing or just in other little one shots like this one. I know there's another one shot coming out from a different era of time. But yeah, you just get another inside view to this character and how long he's been around. And at this time, he was trying to be like a little bit more valiant with his godlike power, because he can't be killed essentially. Like he can be cut up into millions of little pieces, and one of those little pieces will fully formulate back into him.
I think I knew that.
Yeah, so religion gets introduced to Atlantis, and that's what caused the demise of Atlantis.
Classic religion.
Yeah.
Am I right?
But yeah, like Berserker just had all these things to say about like these people don't really know what they're talking about. You shouldn't listen to them, and the king still listened to them, and there fell Atlantis.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, are they above water or below water in this one? It seems like they're above.
They're above water, yeah.
Now let me ask you this: do they have the circles in the middle of Atlantis? Do you see any giant circles? Well, I guess
not that I can recall.
Because from what I've heard, Atlantis had giant circles in the middle of it. But who the heck knows what I'm talking about? But yeah, So it sounds like you enjoyed it. It sounds like we've got a lot of comics where it was like, let's look at this character. Who is this character before you got to know and love him?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I got Penguin back behind me and Berserker as well.
Right.
One other thing that I read this week, I actually read back-to-back issues because I hadn't read the previous one yet, but I got to Hunt, Kill, Repeat, and it was the end of the arc. I don't know if it's going to go beyond this last issue. How many was it? It was 6. It was a 6-issue arc, and essentially ended up that is it not Ares? Aphrodite. I think that's who the main character is. Essentially, like, it goes back to there was a new Olympus, like the gods of Olympus decided they were tired of humanity, so they came and took back over and planted themselves in New York and named it New Olympus. And Aphrodite broke her vow of chastity, married a mortal man, and they had a kid. But it was kind of done in a Kill Bill style, in the sense that, like, she was pregnant, her husband was killed, she was basically knocked out by her dad, Zeus, and then she woke up and realized she didn't have her baby in her anymore, and all that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so she goes on a vendetta to kill her family. She's going to kill all of her siblings and ultimately kill her dad. And then, man, this is the problem with Eternus also being around the same characters. But
maybe I am thinking of Eternus, because I feel like you might have just told me this story like last week. So maybe
Eternus was another thing that had to do with
Zeus and a daughter.
Zeus and his children.
I think
that's the one where it turns out
he was Jesus.
Jesus is Zeus.
Classic.
But which, that is something that flies around in the world, like that. Hey, Zeus actually means Hail Zeus, and so some people do believe, or at least buy into, that Zeus and Jesus are the same.
Stem from something similar.
But yeah, so this one, though, it's different from that, and that like Zeus essentially gets annihilated by Aphrodite and her team, and then she ends up dying at the end of it. But her son has now learned the truth of everything, and now he is the ruler of New Olympus, because everybody else is dead.
Right.
And so it's like they could take Greek lore to a whole new direction with this kid. Just for fun, not to change anything, but just to, like, it's a what if story.
Right.
And so it'd be cool to see it keep going. But yeah, I love the series. Like I said, it was very, like, Kill Bill-esque. It's pretty violent in the fight scenes. Nice. And, like, the art's just really good. It's kind of like a little bit cartoony art, but it, like, really works for the story that it's being told.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was from Mad Cave. As you mentioned earlier, we've been picking up some Mad Cave stuff lately.
Good old Mad Dog.
Mad Dog Mad Cave.
Mad Dog Mad Cave. Mad Dog 2020. Remember? Did you ever drink Mad Dog 2020? That's an alcohol, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, I think I tried it once and said nah.
No, thank you for me.
No, not for me.
I am sober now. Well, hey, man, how do you feel like giving this horse some acid and see if a pink elephant shows up? Speaking of,
I think that's a good idea.
Speaking of not a good idea, I heard one time that they tried to experiment on elephants with acid and just see what would happen. And they gave it like a compromisable dose of, what it would take for a human to do acid, which really isn't much you think of. Yeah. And it just died. And so they're like, let's try it again. Maybe it was a bad elephant. And then the second one died. And they're like, all right, well, apparently acid just kills elephants. So maybe this is the spirit of those dead elephants coming back to reap the souls to reap vengeance upon the souls of the mortals who damned them to a trippy ass death.
Are we still talking about the horse riding into the sunset?
Yes. Oh my goodness. You wanna tell people how they can track us down?
Yeah, you can track us down, man. You can find us at Instagram at the Pullbox Pals. You can find me at Matt_nerdy. You can find Monk at that Monk guy. You can find us on TikTok as the Pullbox Pals. YouTube as the Pullbox Pals. You can listen to us later if you missed this live streaming. You can listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or really wherever you listen to your podcasts. And yeah, we love being active on mainly Instagram, so hit us up there. But don't forget to check out our content on TikTok and various other platforms as well.
Right.
And make sure like and subscribe and comment. Like we would really appreciate that.
Yeah, any interactions would be beneficial. Everything boosts everything. Here's a little fun tip on Instagram, and when you like our photos, also give it a little save there in the corner, because saves boost it higher than likes. So whenever I am doing something like for the comic, or whenever I'm on Instagram and I see something for the comic book player for us, I just save it and like it, because I'm trying to help out my bros.
That's a good tip, and I did not know that. So thank you for sharing. All the stuff that I typically save, I never actually look at again.
Yep, it does same because mine is just an infinite pile of other people's. Well, yeah, other people's content. Like, it's not all just other people's content. Anyways, I have something to say, Mr. Matt.
What do you got to say? Tell us, man.
I don't. I'm shy now. I'm scared. What if people think I'm stupid?
Ooh, pressure's on.
Oh, no.
Nobody's going to think you're stupid. It's okay.
Okay. Well, I feel safe now to say I haven't read comics like these in years.